So we're just getting set up right now. Okay, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Sorry for.
No worries.
I was so sad. You're building and I'm gonna.
No, this is not our building. This is the City of Sunnyside building.
We basically like an interview with officials.
We were having a little office.
Oh. Hey. Yeah. We just had a. Sorry. Oh.
Were we supposed to be running across the year or something?
Yeah.
It's Pick on Amy Day. It's officially Pick on Amy Day.
Luckily, this office is much like an airplane. It cleans the air like every 2 seconds. It just goes,
Oh, no.
It's called air conditioning. Shut it down, push the gear in, it's so loud.
I don't know. I don't know everybody wants to, but I kind of set up so we talk because we also like this is going to be hard when we. Yeah. And it's so I thought maybe Jack can interpret.
Oh, 2 hours. No, okay. Geez. Oh,
I can think on here.
2 weeks first. Oh, no, that's $75,000.
And then that way there's still. I just don't know where to. So should I tell this one? Yeah. I feel like I'm going crazy. Yeah. Wherever we can even set those up. Chairs for people want to sit there.
Why did you get crazy? Why?
Because I had friends who they people were calling me and everyone's last minute. So.
And you got what, like 100 folks by now?
No. But I had like 12 vendors. Yeah, she has a good amount of vendors. That's happening all the time.
Come together.
Yeah, I've been actually going, and I made it, well, I have to share with it, because I wanted to do, permits, yeah. So, this is how it was, like, they asked us whatever event, so I told them, like, oh, when is this at the market? But they were like, yeah, do you want to do? And so they have, like, so, like, one of the vendors, she's like, yeah.
Okay.
It's a Starbucks. She bedazzled it and she put this stuff in it. So and then like the lady makes soap, which she makes like favors like cappuccino soap. That's kind of cool. Yeah.
Even my wife and daughters would be absolutely impressed.
Yeah. I think it's really good. Yeah, I did reach out to a couple of my people, but a couple of people I haven't reached out to are not doing anything right now. So yeah. And then I didn't know that volume food is something. Yeah. I know French for now. They do their separate. Yeah, and theirs is more like French and stuff, so anywhere you want, yes, wherever you want. I don't know if this is a good spot for me or not, but it's okay. Yeah, this wasn't. I just kind of moved down here because I didn't know where everybody's gonna sit.
I go back to my teaching days and stand on the street.
You stop the phone.
And I was driving crazy because I pace a lot.
May I have the pen that's in the folder? You want to move that table like this way so that way when we like ask.
Yeah, whatever you want me to.
I mean, as far as laying out and stuff, that's fine. I just don't want to like be on questions. Come on, easier for you here.
You want me to go move over there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then they'll just be here. I'm fine here. And then in case anybody, I mean, don't maybe even send. Yeah, and I think Kim's on the phone. Okay. Yeah, Kim Frank is on the phone. Okay.
Hi, Kim. I don't hear Kim, but at least she's on the phone.
Hello. Sorry.
There you are. Okay.
Hi.
We're going to try to get started here. I think everybody who is going to be here in person is here. And so if you have questions, just pipe up. Don't be shy.
All right. Thank you.
I got all my paperwork in front of me.
Like, you know what you're gonna say.
Yeah. Are we the only one coming?
In person, yeah.
In person? Okay, so do you have our business? I'm not blocking the.
The screen.
Yeah.
All right, Jackie, we ready?
Yeah.
All right. Kim's proved that she's here. The rest of us are here. I have now finally remembered to turn my ringer off, so we're good there. All right, let's call this meeting to order and take a look at what we've got going here. So we don't have anybody representing any of our tax takers, do we?
No.
Either Mr. Bentley nor, of course, Mr. Beeler is no longer on the committee. We do have to find a replacement for him. If anybody has any suggestions, I would be happy to hear them and go speak to that individual. I don't mind going to talk to people and seeing if I can encourage them to do that sort of thing. It's a challenge on that side. I mean, those of you who are taking advantage of these lodging taxes are more than happy to be here, but it seems as if we really struggle with those who are having to pay it, and they should also have a little bit of input on this. Under state law, I think they're supposed to have at least equal input. So, yeah, if you can get somebody, if you know of somebody who might be interested, I'd be happy to go visit with them and see what we can do, okay?
Maybe a person, sorry. Jack, have you approached anybody since our last meeting or talked to anybody? No, but I did send out to the hotels the notice. Okay. So we need to, yeah, and I haven't heard anything back from them. I sent it to Bleeger, the Best Western, I sent it there. And then I sent it to the Travel Lodge, I think by Burger King. At one point, I didn't think that they were open, but I now see cars there, so I was, somebody can do it. And then I sent it to the 2 hotels on Gaston Valley Highway.
Okay. And so I was gonna go in, since you've sent that in, I'll go in, when I get a bit of a break, I'll go in and talk to the managers in person and see if I can get some sort of interest. It's not like it's a huge time commitment, so I don't understand why we get so much resistance. But there it is. All right, our active agenda. Part A, review the Sunnyside signature event proposals for receive for 2022 lodging tax funds and consider a recommendation to City Council for approval. And have any of you guys read through these already?
Yes.
You have, but you haven't seen them?
No, I.
You have them right there, okay.
She's
I just got mine this morning. So what I'm gonna do is, we'll get started on each subject, and I will skim through it. I'm going to let you guys talk about the relative merits, pluses or minuses on those, since you've read those, and I'll pitch in where I need to. But a lot of this discussion is going to be the two of you at first, and I understand you guys are the ones submitting the proposals, but I will read as quickly as I can and catch up, okay?
Yep.
So,
Okay, so are we able to do this or maybe one other?
well, we can do that. You are, let's see here, where are you in this? General proposals,
The journal proposal. So, yeah,
item 1. Yeah, you're item 1 under general proposals, are you not? And I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
I'm Stephanie, I'm with Jack.
Stephanie, okay. Would you like to go first, and then we can
Sure,
allow you to go back to do what
sure.
the rest of, I'm sure you've got plenty to do. So why don't we do that? We'll skip over to item B, review of the general proposals received for 2022 lodging tax funds and consider recommendation to City Council for approval. Item 1, Sunnyside Marketing Tourism Project, Yakima Valley Tourism. So in 2021, the approved funding was $56,138.32. The amount being requested this year is $84,391.74, with a reduced amount of $73,538.32. So, let me get to that. Okay.
How much was spent last year, though? Was there, we spent
There was, yeah, and actually Jackie would probably have a better idea of what everything was spent, because once my part is done, then she works with the marketing department, to figure out what projects, they will, go through with for this year. So some of it was tailored around the event, and some of them did not happen, so there may be some savings on those, that, you know, like a couple of years ago, we did it where, with the pandemic, and things happening, we didn't do some of the photography last fall and winter for like the lighted parade, so that those, you know, so the funding is kind of a bit muddled at the moment, you know, with what was approved for 21, what was approved for 20, and when we're going to spend it, kind of a thing. So the numbers are going to be pretty fluid. So right away, the AAA and the domains and hosting, Northwest Travel and the photography, SIP, social media, that stuff, as far as the insertion orders and stuff like that, once we sign them, we typically have to go through with them, but because of COVID, some of them have been pretty cool about letting us out of that, or suspending it altogether, because for some of the magazines, they did not have enough advertisers, period, to be able to run issues and things like that. And so depending on how things go for the first quarter of 2022, that's something that where we might commit to it, but maybe it doesn't exactly get spent just because of the conditions of tourism and travel and things like that. Same with photography, and then the social media promotion. Of course, nobody wants to spend money on social media promotion that we might not have anything to promote for, but it's there just in case we might want to use that. Something else, so the Sunnyside Travel Guide distribution. So I threw in here 3 new areas that Yakima Valley Tourism as a whole is going to distribute into. So I added those same areas for you guys, which would be Boise, Salem, and then the Central Oregon and Bend sites. And so for the distribution, the 5,300, you'll see down here the breakdown of that. If there are some markets that you decide you might not want to move into, then that is a la carte, so you could take some of that off if you wanted to. And then the other one is the Sunnyside Travel Guide print and delivery. So we have worked with Abbott's Printing the last few years to print your guys' travel guide. So the print and then the delivery cost, so they are kind enough to box them up and then ship them for us, and we use their relationship with their shipping companies. So I just wanted to make sure that they're, that you guys knew that the delivery and then the distribution is different. So Abbott's would print and deliver the guide if you wanted to do another one next year. So here's where it's a little bit more confusing too. We are just now printing this year's guide for you. If there's enough left over next year to fulfill the distribution, you might not have to do another guide next year. So those print costs will go down, but the delivery charge would still be there. So as we go, we could potentially see a savings in that $12,000 right there as well. The video production, this is working with Cody Beebe with Digital Vendetta to get B-roll footage of your event. We weren't able to do that this year because, you know, Cinco and things like that did not happen. Yeah, so hopefully with the lighted parade this year and then any of the fall events that you guys might be doing, you might be able to do something there. But then also just have that 5,000 earmarked for next year in case there is something to do with Cinco and the other events. And then, if, of course, there will be a savings there if we don't do anything because if, you know, conditions do not improve enough for us to be able to hold those events, that kind of a thing. The Yakima Valley area map ad. So this is, you'll see for the Yakima Valley area map, there's 2 parts to it. So when you fold it out, there is, you'll see an inset of the street index for Sunnyside, which as a community that has a marketing contract with us, that is included. And so you'll see there that it is pretty much the downtown area and includes the highway and then the exit and entry points off of I-82. And then the one above it for where it says Yakima Valley area map ad for the 1055, Toppenish cannot renew that ad this year, or for 2022, I'm sorry. So that panel is available. So I threw that in there in case you guys might want to put that, put yourself on there with like events, have some additional promotion in that way.
So by the top of this, the events are, right?
Oh, actually, it's this panel right here with the imagery and some description. So we could put something here, that you guys might want to do, and again, our marketing department can work with Jacqueline on that. But just wanted to throw that out there for you guys if you wanted to do some additional promotion. We do 5,000 of these. Every travel guide request that we receive, where someone wants information, we throw the map ad in there, or I'm sorry, the fold-out map in it. And you guys also have an advertisement in our travel guide. So that's the next thing down there, is to continue the 2-page advertorial rate with us. And we do 100,000 copies of the travel guide. And in addition to the normal areas that we go to, all over the Pacific Northwest, as far as Northern Oregon, and then the West Side, and also up to Spokane, we also included Boise, and then Salem, and Central Oregon and Bend, because those areas are very beer-centric, and they're very popular. And the statistical information that we've received, Boise is getting a lot of new money moving up there from the California area, and they are people who have expendable money that they don't mind sitting in a car and driving all the way up here, because it's, pretty much 6 hours of the day is what they would do to commute back and forth to work. And so the distribution company that we work with at Certified Folder, they're seeing a lot of interest in the travel magazines that they distribute in that area. So she thought it was a very good idea for us to expand into that market. Yeah. So to start, our travel guide, and I'm proposing to send 5,000 of your copy of your travel guide into those areas as well. So what it would do is, in the distribution for your guide, sorry, I'm jumping around here, but keep the 10,000 for Seattle and Portland, and then do the 5, 5, and 5 for Bend and Salem and Boise, and then of course you guys get your 5. So I kind of moved numbers around in that way. Seattle and Portland used to get 17.5 each, so that's where I got your extra guys to be able to move into those other areas. So if you're okay with that, that's the total for the 40,000. And then that's what Certified has said that they'll distribute your guide. And then we pay for the distribution of our guide. The Yakima Valley Tourism does. So that's something that would be included in your ad there. So, and then of course, for everything, if you look down at the marketing management for everything that we do, so of course, I work with Jacqueline on different things. Our marketing department, so there's Jennifer and Daniel in that department. Daniel is our graphics and web developer, so he's the one that has developed all of this, in addition to everything on the website. He manages ComeToTheSun.com for you guys with Jacqueline's help, and then the design and layout of your travel guide. This is the one from 2019. We're printing 2020 right now, and then we can pay for, and that's something that you guys want to talk about too. We can pay for the 2020 guide out of this year's funds, but maybe pay for distribution for next year, or use this year's distribution funds, however you want to do that. But it would be, there would be a bit of an increase, because if you wanted to expand in those markets. But just let me know how you want to do it, where you want the money, or when you want the money to come out of which budget, so I can work with our accounting department on that. So, sorry it's so confusing, but.
So the numbers that you put out, as far as distribution of the travel guide, this pretty much the same number of travel guides that we've had in the past, correct?
Yes.
So we're not adding to that, and we're not adding a lot, other than locations in Boise, Salem, and Central Oregon, we're not adding an awful lot of other new things in here that I can see. Am I correct?
No, the only difference would be is in the advertising and the ad buys that Jennifer in our marketing department has proposed here. I think last year maybe you guys had SIP, she added a couple more, she told me, that she wanted me to point out for you. But she is in good contact with all of the reps that we work with. And so if there are things that you don't maybe want to do this year that you, or not do next year, then we can negotiate all of that. We have time for that. She doesn't have to sign any of the insertion orders or any of the contracts right away. But yeah, so she added SIP SIP magazine. So there's a featured event newsletter. So those would be for your events dedicated e-newsletter. So whichever events you want us to promote for you. And then the print ads, their circulation of that is 40,000. So she has negotiated a half-page ad in the summer and fall edition next year for $15.50.
So explain a little bit more, what is the SIP magazine?
So SIP magazine is a regional magazine that we work with quite a bit. It's very popular for us. We've seen a lot of return on investment. So for Yakima Valley Tourism, we do work with them quite a bit as far as the regional marketing that we do for the valley. So we thought some individualized marketing would be good for you. And I think Union Gap also advertises with them as well.
So is it a print magazine?
It's a print magazine, yep.
And where would I find it? Let's say I'm wandering around, I go to a lot of places, where am I going to see it on a?
It's actually a subscription magazine, so the 40,000 are people who have actually paid for a subscription to receive the magazine.
And they're pretty much in the Northwest, are they?
As far as I know, they're pretty much in the Northwest, but they could have people that I don't see that side of it, that information as far as like who exactly, but it could be national.
And who are these? I mean, obviously it's a magazine of some sort of interest to people, so what does it
For wine
feature?
country,
Okay.
Foodies, that kind of a thing. People who are really interested in going to areas with unique offerings like what we have.
Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out. Who does it cater to? You know, if it's, SIP, what is it short for? Apparently.
Yeah, no,
now I
SIP
know,
is
it's for people who
yeah,
sip wine out of a glass. Gotcha.
And we like to work with, we've done extensive, Yakima Valley Tourism has paid for quite a bit of studies and research into who our customer is, so that we can then turn around and make sure we're in the right areas as far as print and digital marketing. And our area has typically been, the demographic is 35 to 65. And so I'm right there. And so while I enjoy print, I'm getting a bit into digital. I have a 21-year-old son, so he's making me do all that stuff on my phone, where I'm like, I want to look at a book though. But we're seeing that trend where we have a very, very strong mix of people who still like to look at things in print and digitally. So we try to keep that balance. So SIP SIP Magazine, we also try to get into Edible Seattle. AAA is still a really big one for us. We just make sure that we have that ROI. So we've seen it with the different research that we've done, that they are effective for us. Another thing we're working on for next year, which we just got approved through our budget process with our board, is there's an organization called C-Source. It's SEE and then Source. And it's a company that Yakima Valley Tourism is going to subscribe to really get even more detailed information, especially with COVID. What's the new norm going to be for travel next year? And so we're going to pay for that. We're going to gather the information and then figure out where what we're doing is good and what else we might need to add, type thing. And then our media side of everything we do is starting to ramp up again. That was kind of put on hold this year. But the nice thing is that we're seeing a lot of interest from different travel writers. So, for instance, this last weekend, we hosted somebody named Steph Porter, and she is a travel writer who came for the weekend. We had her go all over the valley. She came down here. She came to, I apologize, is that Hobbies or?
Yeah,
Hobbies. Yeah. So she's been sending us a lot of pictures and information. Dan said that she is pretty affluential. I visited her Instagram page. She's got something like 100 and some thousand subscribers to that. She does blogs. She does podcasts. She's really nationally recognized. So she's very good for us to have over the weekend. We have more coming up later this year. Definitely some interest in with I think you said two different travel writers for the lighted farm implement parade. So let's hope that that still happens so that we can bring those people here. And then here soon we're going to start working on the spring release. So we already did the winter release, and now we're going to start doing the spring release with Green Rubino, which is the PR firm we work with in Seattle to get the national and international travel writers and the media that we wouldn't necessarily be able to get in contact with.
So do you have a way of tracking, I'm sure it'd be really difficult, but any way of tracking people who are actually stopping off the highway? Yeah, I spend a lot of time on the road between Ellensburg and Sunnyside. And I'm getting passed constantly by cars with, you know, Bellevue Acura, Bellevue Honda, Bellevue Mercedes, whatever, but they're flying by me. Do we have any way of tracking how often these people are stopping in the valley?
Yes, actually, C-Source, which is who we're gonna use for the market research we wanna do next year, they can track cell phones, everybody that has their location on, and if they do a Google search for somewhere and do a map, find for that, for wayfinding, it tracks debit card purchases. So they're gonna be able to give us a lot of, not the proprietary part of it, but at least where they've been and,
Where they spend money.
and where they've been spending the money and what they're looking for. We're also looking at another, platform that will allow us, if somebody has their location on, there's some kind of technology that, they can get pinged for events, where if they're in Benton City, I know that there's a collection of, the collaboration of wineries in Benton City that are doing that, where they've pulled their funds together to ping people's phones.
No, I was in
Yeah.
California over the weekend, and I got pinged for 5 different events, plus COVID testing, and
Oh,
also
wow.
signing up for contact tracing, all in California.
Wow.
So, yeah, so it does get out there. It gets annoying for somebody for me that doesn't really want to deal with that because I want to hang out with my granddaughter. But, yeah, I can see where it's effective, and I think that, yeah, we should definitely look into it. I mean, that's something that would be helpful for you, somebody driving by and say, hey, there's a parade. Not everybody loves a parade, but doesn't everybody love a parade?
Yeah.
So if you wanted to look through, further into the packet, you'll see that some of the advertising that we've done for you guys, for this year and what those look like. Daniel, again, in our, marketing department, he's our graphics and web developer. He's the one that's, produced all this stuff for you guys. Facebook, content, the farms and produce, the fall sipping in wine country, your guys' travel guide that we are in the process of, printing, management of ComeToTheSun.com, making sure that the events are all up to date, and on there. So I'm in charge of the events calendar right now. So anything that I enter and I say it's in Sunnyside is going to go to your guys' website. So I try to find anything that I might be able to put on there, for you. And then things that we've done, through visityakima.com and your community ads that you have paid for. So here's your web and your print exposure with us, which includes your 2-page advertorial that you paid for in the 2020 guide that we ended up, we didn't print another one this year. We distributed it for 2 years. Yeah, we had so many left over from last year that, yeah. So that is the marketing project in a nutshell. And when you look at the contract that, the proposal that I filled out for you, where it says that we can, the reduced amount, that is a combination of, if you don't print the guide next year, and then say if you didn't want to, print your guide, but say we don't print it, but say we deliver it, kind of a thing, and then took out the sites from the 3 new sites that I proposed to distribute into, which would be Bend and Salem and Boise. So, yeah.
So on here though, with the Sunnyside travel guide, the difference between the 28 pages and the 24 pages.
Oh, yes, that's the other thing. Thank you for pointing that out. That's the other thing is also, if you don't feel like for us, for our travel guide, we typically do 84 pages, but we might be reduced down to 80 because of how many businesses closed in Yakima and throughout the valley because of COVID. And so we might not have as many pages that we would be able to print. So the high end for the 28 pages is that 12,000, and then it reduces down to 10 if we do 24, and it could be even less if we go down to 20 pages, which I believe, Jacqueline, do you remember, are we doing 20 pages for you this year? Or was it 24?
You have the 25 there.
Oh, I have it right here, yeah, duh. It is 20. Yep. So this is the one from 2019. So yeah, that's your 20 pages right there.
Okay.
Yeah, so we could even go back down to 20 pages if you wanted. But if you had, more attractions, or if you had more content you wanted to put into it, then we could do the 24 or even the 28. But I didn't get a quote for 20, but I think you could assume that it would be probably $1,000 or $2,000 less than that 10,000, yeah.
And it's 20 for 10.
Okay, so I bet you would be, so the reason that this is, so affordable right now is we have switched you guys to, a different type of print with them, which we started it with that one, and it's web printing.
Okay.
Yeah, and so Abbott did it, or is doing this one this year with that web printing, which I'm not quite, she has explained it a couple of times, I'm not quite sure, but either way, same quality, but for less money. And so, this year it's gonna be even more affordable for the 2022 guys. If you wanted to reprint it for next year, say we run out of the 40,000, then yeah, we can do that.
And how much more did you say would be if this one is?
It would be $1,055. Yeah. Yeah, so you'll see where it says Yakima Valley area map ad for $10.55, and then the Yakima Valley area map is $0 for the featured community.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's the street index, for wayfinding for people that would visit Sunnyside. Yeah.
And that's included on here, where it's the Sunnyside events, and then it has the latest.
So when you're looking, yes, do you see the?
Yeah,
Yeah, let me.
Down there, I didn't know.
Yeah, so this is what's included right here, so your street index and then your, events are highlighted right here.
Okay.
But if you wanted to pay for the panel here, this will give you a little bit more opportunity for description, different things like that of the city.
Yeah.
But,
And that's the 1,000.
yeah, yeah.
So,
In doing these though, are you working with the city to make sure it only has the ones in here that are still open?
Yes, Jennifer and Daniel work with Jacqueline on that, yeah.
Okay, want to make sure.
Yeah,
you don't wanna advertise somebody who's closed.
no, absolutely, yeah. And so then you'll see too that, like for your guys' events, for a lot of them, we've changed it to just say early fall, winter, that kind of a thing, and not date it. It just got, with COVID, it really changed our way of thinking as far as, how to advertise all that. But with having the website on here, that would drive people to go to the website, and then they can find the up-to-date information and current information for the event.
So are people using these maps quite a bit?
Yes. And in fact, with the Never Say Never marathon that's coming up here in a couple of weeks, she took about 100 maps. I distribute them to other events that are happening around the valley that are bringing out of town people. We also, anytime we have a fulfillment request for a travel guide or any other type of information, one always goes into the mailer. So what I'm hoping by doing that is that I can increase the print of it to, maybe 10,000 for, next year or maybe the year after.
Okay,
And
I was just thinking about using, Google Maps on my phone.
Yeah.
I was 50 miles south of Bend yesterday, and I need to figure out where the Walmart was, and guess what? Where's Walmart in Bend?
Yeah.
And then it took me right there. So that's where my head goes, and I'm just wondering if these maps are as effective as they used to be. Do we?
Yeah, we print 5,000 a year, and I'm about ready to run out of them. I only have a couple boxes left, so which is like, 100 or 200 in them. So we did pretty good getting rid of them this year. So
Okay.
we did a 20 map or a 19, and this is the 21 map. So, yeah.
And are you guys constantly working on the website to put improvements?
Yes. Anytime there's any other information that needs to be added to it, or if there are photos that need to be updated, he works on it quite often, yeah. And then as far as the events, anytime there's events that I care about, I'm gonna put them on the website right away. So then it's right there for your guys' folks that are looking for information.
Okay. So on this whole, on the phone, on Facebook or whatever, is this technology you guys are working at? I think it's called geofencing or something like that, where people come to an event.
Yes,
you
I
track
think that's
them.
what it's called that Benton City uses, is
Yeah.
geofencing. Yeah, and it's like a net that it
Yeah.
caps, and it
Yeah, a friend of mine does advertising for Fox 41, and she uses that all the time. People come over to the Home Builders Association events, and anybody who walks in there, they capture that information. Next thing you know, they're getting texts for all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I practically turn off my phone when I go there. Give her all kinds of grief, but no, she says it's incredibly effective. So, you know, the question is going to come up, so I'm going to ask it. So what is the difference then in what we're receiving in the 56,000 that we approved for 21 and the 84,000 that is being requested for 22?
So for 22, the addition of the SIP and the Northwest Travel and Life, I think that Northwest Travel was another addition to that. So there's Northwest Travel is at almost $10,000. I think we had to take that out if I remember correctly.
It says 95 in here, yeah.
Yeah, I think we had to take that out last year. Nope, it was actually in there. Okay, so we got the photography. Travel guide distribution, that's another one that went up a little bit, not much, but it did go up a little bit. The print, and okay. Yeah. And the video production, added the map ad. Oh, and the other thing we took out, for 2021 advertising is the $3,000 for the Yakima Valley Travel Guide, because we didn't reprint that. So there's that one there as well. Distribution is going up a little bit there. And then the 5,000, we always throw that in for the reserve for media buys. That's something that you guys opted out of for this year as well, for 21. Yeah.
So essentially, we are in another magazine and newsletter, and some other costs have gone up.
Yes. Yeah. Social media. Yes, because I think Cody's already done some stuff for you guys, is that correct?
I don't know if it was Cody, but we did something
With
for the
digital.
lighted one, yeah. And for them, so far they've only used $13,307.21 as of June. They have $42,831.11 remaining for the rest of the year. Council has approved.
And some of that includes the social media promotion where we were going to do some Facebook advertising for the event. Jennifer also said that some of the magazines that she had proposed for 21, she didn't advertise in for you guys because the events that she was going to promote for that did not take place. And then also with the shutdown, she didn't think that if travel was restricted, it would be a good idea to spend money on advertising when people probably wouldn't come and wouldn't feel comfortable, traveling, which was kind of rough for everybody for the last year,
Well, a year ago was difficult to predict.
Yeah.
Because, we were told not to travel, yet I have never seen so many out-of-state license plates in the Yakima Valley.
Mm-hmm.
In my life this year, again, I'm seeing a lot of out-of-state plates and out-of-area plates. But last year was absolutely mind-boggling how many people traveled long distances to the area. So I don't know if we missed something there. We could have done something different to get them to stop here in town. But
I'm not sure. We, as far as Yakima Valley Tourism, we kept up our regional marketing that we do, but we still, with everything we did, we still saw a decrease in the overnight stays. So what we're thinking is that it could have been people who were just traveling, passing through kind of a thing. They didn't maybe necessarily stay the night, but they drove through.
mm-hmm.
Maybe they did get some gas. Maybe they stopped somewhere to check out a local hotspot. But as far as the lodging tax side of it, that.
Yeah, and there weren't a lot of events last year, but there
Yeah.
were a lot of people passing through.
So that's what maybe happen without those people.
So, for instance, the video production, the photography,
Mm-hmm.
so, like, we have an event that we're hosting here this on Saturday. So, are you guys coming down, or how does that work?
Jacqueline, do you guys have that scheduled? Because I think that Jennifer would work with you on when to schedule somebody to come down and take photos or video of the event.
No, I've never, you guys can just send them
Okay.
to people.
I can double check with Jennifer and Daniel on that.
I found out, like, are you guys promoting the Sunshine Day event? Like, it's
Oh,
all
yes,
about-
absolutely, yeah.
And I was looking at, I've been traveling too, so I've been looking at other people's websites,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like ours is kind of, it's simple, but I feel like we could add more to it, like what to do in town, it needs to be updated. We do have, like, Holly's Chicken and Churros right now, I feel like it's bringing a lot of attention to downtown.
Okay.
So I feel like they should be up on here. We just got a new juice place, that's really popular right now. And, you know, like the insurance lady, she opened during COVID, so now she's like, okay, I wanna do a ribbon cutting, because I wasn't able to. So there's like a lot of different things that I think we could be adding to our website, along with what to do in Sunnyside. Because I looked at it and it was not, it didn't like catch my attention. Like, I feel like we could add more, like there's a lot of things we could do here.
Okay.
To bring. So that's why I wanted to know, like, how often are we updating this website? I know for me, like, when they ask me, like, what is your website? Do you have a website? I tell them, come to thesun.com, because it's not only helping my event, but it's also helping, you know, people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I feel like if maybe we had a section, I don't know if it's more, but like pictures of previous events,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like the market or the lighting implement, like, so people can.
And do you have high-res photos you could send to us for different things?
Well, no, that's what I thought. Before when they came, they were
Mhm.
taking pictures, that's what I thought it was for.
Okay.
When you guys came, I thought that's what was gonna be used, like, on the website.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't have any of the last work that we had.
Okay. Well, I can go back and I'll talk to Jennifer and Daniel and I'll let them know that that's something that you guys would like us to focus on. And definitely when we can get digital vendetta out to the different events and take really good photos, those can be added to the website. They can also, you know, beef up the Facebook content and things like that. So.
Yeah, because I mean, it's good, but I feel like we could add more, like, there could just be, and I just want to know how often is our website being,
Mm-hmm.
maintained, you know, continuing to look for, you know, things.
Well, I just think because like when you go, like for the parade, when you go to it, when it's off season, if you can't really find anything out except for the date and the time, and I know now it's difficult because, yeah, so
Right.
and so it was difficult, but I just think that would be a good idea.
Like, I wanted to have like pictures, like, oh, you know what, this looks interesting, I want to go next year.
And I'll see, I think that part of the problem was, which is why, we encouraged you guys to hire Digital Vendetta, was that finding high-res photos to be able to do that type of thing just weren't available. And unfortunately, for things like this, some of the photos that people had provided to us off of cell phones, it was not that particular file type, or the resolution wasn't high enough that it would display properly on the website. So I know that's been a problem. But I will go back and I'll talk to them and see what more we can do and see what suggestions that Jennifer and Daniel can come back with, and then we can work with Jacqueline. And then if there's anything, like, you have my email address, but definitely, you know, talk to Jacqueline first, and then that way she can let us know what she wants us to do type thing. I think that would be totally doable for whatever you guys want us to do for you.
And I think it would be worth it for to have good pictures, for that, you know, it's hard
Yeah.
for us, you know, to try to get somebody
Mhm.
hired to do that, but it would be good.
And if we add like our school, like, you know, the Grizzlies, like, you know, something on there, if we do have, you know, or even if people, I know we have people looking like, you know, for swim team, like they don't know like who to contact. Like
You
if
mean as
you're-
far as the sports side of it?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
a lot of times the parents don't know, like it's their first kid, they want to join sports, because I see it all the time on Facebook, like who do we go to look for, to be on the swim team, or who do we, so they always have, and I'm sure like Nancy gets tagged, because they'll see like somebody tag her, or somebody tags somebody that's affiliated, so, and I normally try to just tag like, oh, if you want information, go here.
Well, and so are you talking about, I think you might be talking about two different things though. So are you talking about people locally looking for information? Because what we're trying to do is promote out of the area. So people that might be able to come here, like if they're coming
Even
here,
if they're out of the area, like say they want to move over here,
oh, as far as
so they
relocation?
can
Okay.
see, oh, what do we have to offer?
Okay.
So, yeah, they have these kind of sports, they have, you know, they can kind of see what we
Yeah.
have.
And, you know, and it's something, we do have relocation information that we, like little kits, we try to put together through the Visitor Information Center. But that's actually not something that we have ever put on our website. We actually refer everybody over to Yakima County Development Association, and New Vision, which, they are, located in Yakima, but they have all the demographics that are, and the research where they collect as far as who lives here, what the median age is, the range, you know, the income levels and things like that.
So,
Property information.
to interrupt, but, is it possible to just have a link on
Yeah,
From the
yeah,
Sun
and
and
that's
say,
what- yeah.
thinking of relocating, click here, or
Okay.
something like that, just so that it's
Yeah.
easier for people to find what's available.
Okay.
And obviously, we want them to relocate to Sunnyside, we don't want them to research every town in the valley, we just want them to come here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can, look at, we can look at YCDA and see if they have it for, they just basically have it on Yakima County. They don't do city, they just have Yakima County information.
I do think though, as far as that, I mean, if there were pictures of it, I think if people excited to come to a small town, I mean, or football games, and some of the pictures and stuff I've seen.
Okay.
So I do think that, I think it would be a good idea, I think it would help promote the events and the people visiting also, because I think they're like, oh, isn't this cute, let's go here. So, because I know I've done that, and I know I've seen other sites where they have,
Okay.
where you can just get the feel of what the town is. So that makes sense.
And then for the event promotion that you're talking about for this weekend, are you talking about for the Bloomerang, or is there some, am I missing something else?
We're doing Ascension Days, which is our.
Okay, yes. So, Jennifer and Daniel were working with you on that. There was Facebook content that was developed for that, and, that was pushed out about a month or two ago. As soon as we got the go-ahead that the event was going to take place, I think that's when Jennifer started doing the,
I know it was
strategic.
kind of not a lot of times, because we were still like.
Yeah, it was just,
unsure,
yeah.
We might shut down kind of thing, so
Mhm.
I was waiting for direction from the health department, so.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking, like, are we getting these, like? you
Yes,
know, people that are
absolutely.
coming?
Yeah, because we kind of, the terminology we use are, you know, signature events. So for your signature event, definitely, in a typical tourism year, we start promoting that a few months ahead of it, you know, for you, as far as print and, any of the digital advertising that we're gonna do for you. And so this year, it's been a short turnaround, but yes, I know that that was part of the advertising schedule for you guys.
Okay.
Yes. And I could, think that it was in the packet, as far as the, advertising that we've done for you this year. There's the one in the maybe this one was, for Northwest Travel and Life, this one for September, October. Maybe they just had it be a generic one because we weren't quite sure about the event. But I can ask her about that if you wanna know. But anytime we drive anybody to your website, though, I know that the events link is, used quite regularly, so
Yeah, and it's.
they would have
really
seen it that
easy.
way too.
So I know a lot of people, they like where it's easy, they can see the events on the bottom.
Yeah.
So just click.
All right,
One other thing that Jennifer wanted me to share with you guys is that, we've been doing quite a bit of craft beer pitches to the media. So before we brought Dan back for media, marketing and media, so media as far as PR and travel writer and any kind of business that we might put together, Jennifer was working on those, so varietal was included in quite a few of the craft beer pitches that she did. We're also working on a partnership with Walla Walla and Tri-Cities as far as familiarization tours for different communities, and you guys were a part of that. And in addition to that, we were working on a big tour with Travel Bloggers Exchange, but unfortunately due to COVID, that event got canceled. However, we did a lot of promotion through them as far as when we were putting this great big blogger tour together with different communities throughout the Northwest. Sunnyside was included in on that, but unfortunately that did get canceled because of COVID. So.
I do have a question for the AAA, the magazine.
Yes.
So, because I saw the pictures in here, so we have March, April, May, June, July, August.
Mm-hmm.
So what is getting promoted at those times? Is it the events? Because then.
So if you look at this one, for the first one for March and April, it was Come to the Sun for springtime sipping.
Okay.
And so we were driving everybody to your website for that, and it says perfectly situated with wineries 10 minutes away in every direction. Plan your wine country getaway today. In the May, June issue, they Come to the Sun for farm fresh flavors, and then for September, October, wine country and hop country are ready. So putting forward your guys' best foot with that. So, and then once they get to the website, then they hit the landing pages, and then they see all the information that's on there for the different events, and for the descriptions of everything that goes along with it. And then for AAA and Western Journey, the May, June, Come to the Sun, September, October, Come to the Sun. And you can see that they kind of changed it up a little bit as far as the description. Yeah. And if there's anything that, that you want to change with any of that kind of stuff, you can let us know. But I think that Jennifer's direction with that is to promote your destination as a whole, and then once they get to the website, once they see that if they request a travel guide or a map or anything like that, then they can start distilling down what they want to do once they get here, kind of a thing.
And then I have to do one more question. As far as I was just trying to understand everything. So right here when it says with your budget,
Mm-hmm.
so the Sunnyside contract, that is separate, correct? From you get the funds from us, and then you also get the money from the city of Sunnyside for a contract with Yaqua Valley Tourism, or from the budget?
No, everything is through LTAC, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So right here is, okay. So this is just the budget that is just for you guys, not the media guys?
Everything is all right here. Everything all the way down to the 84,000. That's all that's included in the 84. Then we can piecemeal out if there are things you want to take out.
Okay.
And are you looking at the advertising budget with the media buy?
No, I'm looking at your guys' approved budget for your
Oh,
And
okay.
so I was just trying to make sure I was understanding. That's what I thought, because it says 22,650.
Okay, so so on the income side of it, for the contract, yes,
Yeah.
for the 22,660, that's going to be for the marketing management.
Okay.
And then there's a separate line item that we don't distill out, because that's not part of the overall Yaqua Valley Tourism budget. So for the income and the expense side of what we do, particularly for Sunnyside, that's on its own line item, and that's not distilled out to the board or to any other public information in that way.
Yeah.
Same with our other marketing contracts that we have as well. So.
I was making sure that I was understanding that correctly.
Yeah. Sorry, I know it gets a little confusing. Sorry.
No problem.
Because everything else, so it's fees on here for the media buys and for the distribution and things like that. That is an expense that we pay for, and then we are reimbursed through invoices with Jacqueline.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not necessarily gonna be an income or an expense to us because it's an in and out type thing. Yeah.
And then I was curious with your approved budget for 2021, on the other side with office supplies, it jumped from 2,000 to 7,000. Is that due to COVID? You guys had to do it at home?
On the Yucca Valley tourism side of stuff?
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
check with that person.
Yeah, so if you, with our, with everybody working from home, there was an increase. We did buy, I think it's on, I thought, oh, it's right here. So we bought cameras like that for us to be able to have, we received funding for that. And so that was, through some federal grant program you could apply for to help you to be able to go virtual with everything. And everybody's meeting at different, times where it was just too hard to be able to just have one or whatnot. So we were able to get, so that includes that. And then other office supplies, I'm not sure, maybe more paper. I didn't really pay attention to the budget list.
There was just a huge jump, and so I was just that it was during COVID, so I kind of figured that's what it was for, but I was.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so are you looking at the Yucca Valley Tourism approved budget, so page 2 of 2?
Yeah.
And then, okay, so the projection was 2,500, but the budget is 7,000?
Yeah, it just jumped from 2,500 to 7,000.
So the projection, that projection number is what Wendy plugs in. That's our accountant. She plugs that in to say that she projects that we were going to end the year in 2020 at 2,500.
Yeah.
But the budget was approved for up to 7,000.
And then you guys went to 5,000.
Yeah.
But it was just because of all that.
Yeah, so the other stuff that we bought, we don't have kind of a thing, yeah. And also we have reduced staff. There's still, three people that we have not been able to bring back as far as funding, income levels are not quite there yet, but also demand, for that position. We're just now adding our receptionist back part-time to help me out. Funding is there to at least bring in somebody part-time. And then the Visitor Information Center also has not been fully operational. It's been just, 4 days a week from 10 to 4, and it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Wednesday through Saturday, 10 to 4. So there is a reduction in cost that way too, so. Yeah.
All right, any further questions for Stephanie?
No.
All right,
All righty. Well, thank you
Well,
very much for your time. I really enjoyed coming here to visit with you guys every year. Glad we didn't have to do it over the computer this year.
yes.
And
This is a
then,
need for all of us.
and then you're going on maternity leave too?
Yes.
Yay.
Thank you to October 8th.
Oh.
I think thinking I should just leave October 1st and just.
Okay.
Make it. It's October 1st and payroll probably will just like that instead. Our payroll lady will just like, just leave on the 1st.
There you go. Well, then I'll get with you on to our new.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
Janice will be in my place and she'll help as much as she can. Very good. So yeah, hopefully I'll try to leave in the last few weeks, leave everything as good as I can.
Oh, and then one other thing, Mr. Casey was on our board of directors as ex officio this year, representing Sunnyside, but then also seeing having that information exchange, having him be exposed to, regionally what we're trying to work on. And our new board chair that comes in each January, I make recommendations. I'm in charge of membership for Yucca Valley Tourism as well. So I did recommend that we continue, that partnership. Being that it's non-voting, it is ex officio is non-voting. However, there is still that opportunity for the information exchange. And you guys have such a large contract with us that we'd like to continue that. So we'll recommend that to our board chair as well. We'll continue that. So.
All right, thank you.
Yep, very good. You guys have a nice day.
Too.
She's been on here.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. We could go directly to Kim because she's been sitting on the phone now for an hour and give her the opportunity to make her proposal and get back to her busy schedule. Is that all right with you, Kim?
That would be fabulous. I was hoping so. Okay,
All
so,
right.
the first one is the community float. There it is.
There it is.
And it's basically the same proposal as we've had before. We were not funded in 2020, but we have been funded for the last 10 years. This is an annual 1-year anticipated activity. And it would start then, of course, January 22 through the year. And it supports the community parades, the parades that the girls go to outside of our town and hopefully outside of our state if we're able to do that. The float, of course, does not provide for lodging. That is not, but have people coming to our community for the different events. We hope that the float is part of that attraction and that what the girls provide in our community outreach, that is taken into consideration as well. And we anticipated that the overnight stays being about 20 overnight stays. I don't know how much you want me to go through piece by piece of this, but we requested 10,000 and partial funding 6,500 if possible, knowing that the girls would have to try to do additional fundraising. We didn't have any money for our float this year. The parents had to pretty much provide for any type of travel, anything for the float for this current year, just due to COVID and all the expenses. As everyone knows, the insurance, everything is there. Whether you're actually using your float or not, you still have to pay for all those expenses. So I think that's about it. I don't know what questions your team has. And I can't see everybody, so I see Dean there.
Yeah, we need a wider angle camera, don't we?
That's okay. That's okay. I just don't know if anybody has questions or anything that you want me to cover a little bit more in depth on this one.
You guys have any questions? And Kim, can you hear everybody all right?
I can hear you. Yeah. And I heard it was kind of mumbled from, I think it was Amy, and I'm not sure who else was there, but I can definitely hear you.
Okay, I'll move the phone over there, so hopefully the microphone can pick the others up pretty well.
Perfect.
So Amy and Lindsay, what have you got for questions? So Jackie, you have approved funding for 2021 at 2,000. Do you have the information on what we approved in previous years, say 19?
Yes. Okay. For 2020, I have that they approved, 2021, council approved $2,000 for just the float.
Right.
For 2020. I thought we approved last year. For 2020, they didn't get any, and I'm due of they haven't spent anything this year, though. So 2019, 5,000 was approved. 2018, 5,000. 2017, 8,000. 2016, 6,600.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
that's kind of the information I was looking for, because I remember a discussion at council. There was for a little while a movement to say that, you know what, you guys need to fund yourselves and sell advertising and do all of these things. and get some money in yourselves. And then we had that big debate on, is our float a signature event? Is it something that really promotes tourism in Sunnyside? And we had a lot of discussion about that. You guys were involved in that, and council really got into it. And I think we managed to get it, was it declared as a signature event?
The float,
Well, I don't know if it's an event, but it was something that we wanted to fund every year.
I know we had asked for like certain things, but due to COVID, they haven't really been able to move their float, so we can't say, yes, they
Right.
did, because I know we asked if they can pass out these things.
Mm-hmm.
I know we had asked if they could, I guess like the pamphlet, and then to show us pictures, stuff like that, but I mean.
Right, well, last year was a complete anomaly, and we hope it never happens again this past year. But,
Right.
I do believe it is something council wanted to fund, a lodging tax, good use,
Right.
an eligible use of funds for the float.
And I
Yeah,
know
'cause
we had said
Change it
to,
every year.
if they could add the events back on the float, if
Mhm.
they weren't on the float, if they were traveling, to different locations so people could see, because it is, I think, they're going to these different parades, people are seeing it,
Right,
and they think, you want them to think, oh, wow, look at Sunnyside's float, we want to go that way.
right. And I guess my point here is I want to try to head off any objections to funding this. I don't want to go through that debate again on council. Because I think we talked about it a great deal. Now we're gonna, after this year, we've already got one new council member. We're gonna have another one for sure. And so, I want to make sure that we get ahead of that. I don't want to have to deal with that again next year. I don't want to have to deal with it this year. This is something that we as council have decided we want to approve every year. We want to make sure that the girls have the money to put the float together. And I know it's not just the girls, it's their parents as well, and it's quite a family commitment. But, I just want to make sure that I've got all the arguments in place for when that comes up, because I can see that it's going to come up. And Kim, you guys didn't spend all 2,000, or you haven't requested, reimbursement for your expenses yet?
I don't think so. And I don't want to misspeak on that. I can find out for you, but I personally don't know at this point.
Okay, but I'd assume you had some expenses, because I did see your float, I know it exists,
Yeah, it does.
and I know
Yeah,
it's been deferred. I
Yeah,
saw
and I'm
pictures
not
of it in my
sure.
computer, so.
Right.
Okay, further questions for Kim?
Did you guys, I mean, you did go to a few parades now. Do you guys have any current pictures or anything of the back of the float, or?
I don't have them with me. I can get them to you. I don't have them with me right now, though. I wish I did.
Well, I know pictures were posted on Facebook by.
Yes,
some of the
they're
girls'
out.
families. So they do exist.
And I can try to pull something up right now. I'm looking right now.
I just know it's a big jump from last year's request to this year's request.
Right, and that's why I was asking if we get a bit of a history on what we have supported, and, 5,000, 5,000, 7,000, so there's a bit of a range.
And then I did see that from last year, their expenses, last year for their expense flow construction was at 2,000, and this year they put 6,000. Their insurance went up, and then their advertising administration went up. It went down, but it could be because, they haven't really gone. But I did see like the insurance went up and the flow construction went up from last year.
Right. Insurance is kind of something that's out of their control.
Yeah, buy insurance when I choose, so I understand.
And did you guys have to do, Kim, a lot of rebuilding on the float?
No.
No.
I'm,
So
well,
there wasn't.
you know, it wasn't feasible to keep building something when we didn't know we could go to any parades. So things were kind of at a standstill at that too. So, and then like what events to really put on the float. I think like Amy, I totally agree about advertising our local events. And I think, I don't even know, like if we even had sunshine days on there, just because we didn't even know if that was going to happen. You know, like we just, this current last year, but that is completely something we need to make sure is on the float every year so that every town can see, you know, when Cinco de Mayo, all the different things are. But I was trying to think back. I don't know if there's anything on there currently right now, just because just with COVID is what was something that, but that
Are you
is.
guys planning on redoing a new one this year? Or are you guys gonna keep it and just modify it? Or do you guys have a plan, plan? 'Cause I know the float hasn't really been out.
Yes, I think it depends on a couple things. One, what funding we get from LTAC monies. And if we have monies, we always like to have the parents and the girls make that decision. And if there are monies available, then yes. But if there aren't monies and we can't redo the float. You know, it's like, I think that is something that it's important to the girls because it represents them. But if there isn't money, there isn't money. So, you know, we hope to be able to do that, but we just don't know.
Yeah. And I've seen other communities and their floats, they're not able to do floats. So I mean, I don't want to see us not have a float.
I agree. And yeah, there are just some, and I don't even know how many are even committed to coming. I'm hoping a lot for Sunshine Days, but I just know there's some that just totally put their programs on pause and they aren't doing it. So hopefully we'll get back to that.
All right, further questions on the float?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
Then let's talk about the Miss Sunnyside Pageant.
All right, so we are having a pageant. And this is for asking for some funding for that. It is previously, I don't believe there was any funding in 2020, but I know Jackie probably has those numbers. But it's been up to 3,500 is what I have written down here. You guys have funded it for 4 years. And again, you know, the event, we have a lot of people that come in for the event, mostly related to, of course, the contestants. We have 8 contestants this year. So out of town people, perhaps staying in our hotels, eating at all the restaurants. We always have something in El Valle at the end of that. Let's see here. But we do have 8, like I said, yes, 8 participants, but we are hoping to request $5,000 and a reduced amount of $3,500 if that is possible. They've sold a lot of tickets, so that's exciting. Hopefully we'll have a full house.
Okay.
Any questions on that? It is kind of the same pitch that we've given before. It's just not much has changed. It's the same event. At the high school auditorium. We were considering outdoors, and then when things started opening up, we were able to we just decided to go for inside.
So this is another event that in this committee and in council we talked about, and this is something that also in the past has been decided that we want to continue to support at this level. This is another something, and I think it was Jackie that did all the work on it to make sure of it, that this is something that is eligible for LTAC funding, so we can legitimately say, you know, let's make this something that we want to do. Not only because it supports the girls involved so much, but it also does look good for the community. It's a good community event. And like you said, it brings people in. They've got extended family who want to come in and see and participate, and quite often going out to dinner is a big part of that. I know whenever my family comes together, I mean, it's out to dinner somewhere after whatever the event is. So council has decided that they want to continue supporting this, and so this is just like the float where we have committed, and so that's the position I'm going to take with council when this comes up. But do you guys have any questions about this?
I know we didn't fund it last year, and I've been adding them on all our advertisement as far as for Sunshine Days, on there, the pageant part, doing all that stuff for them. It is on, we did the big thing on the entertainment. I got with Diana and I've gotten pictures from her. They're on the screens in the movie theater. We've been posting it on our, and I shared it, stuff like that.
So you've been making a big deal out of it, which is great. I
Yeah.
think that's
And that's what we said last year, because I know last year they wanted money for advertisement, and I just said, I'll just take over and add it to Sunshine. I'm already doing, and advertising does
Right.
spending, I know they're nonprofit, and just for the movie theater, I believe I spent, it's like probably like $700-800. So that could hurt, a small group, so if I can just provide it, add it on there, which, we did, and it's on the Facebook and all that stuff, it helps reduce from this, and it was like another $700-800 just to put on the entertainer for like the pageant. So it does get spending for
Thank you.
on that part.
Okay. So and that's helpful. So that'll save you guys on the promotion side of things.
Absolutely. That's really appreciated. Yeah, the more people we can bring in and come into our community, the better.
It's just not on here. It's not very specific, like what they want to use the money for, like for the pageant.
No, it just says advertising and fund of special events.
Jackie, what can they get money for? Is it only for advertising that they can get?
Well, you can get
Refunded or for everything?
For some reason, I think I remember that this one, the pageant was an issue.
Yeah.
That we only brought in with what's his name? Tom Denny.
Yeah.
That there wasn't, the only people that it brought in were the judges that were from other towns. But you can use lodging tax money for advertising operations, like insurance, you guys do porta potty, security, I don't know, supplies, things like that.
For the scholarships, can they?
No, because that would be like a gift of public funds.
So we're limited as to what we can give them money for.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that they do get at least some of that to cover those expenses.
If they can submit insurance, I think they've submitted in the past.
Yeah, prom, lighting, yeah, pageant attire.
So all
And
the
that can
things
get
that
expensive.
put on for the all those different pieces to hold it and to have it there, correct?
Right.
Okay.
All right, any
Well,
more?
I don't have any more questions.
I don't know.
Kim, but I think.
Okay, and I don't have any questions either, so thank you, Kim.
Thanks, you guys. I really appreciate being here, and thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Take care.
You too.
Bye.
So they're the same. So there is stuff, but I put notes for you next time, I knew that already. It's hard for you, so, but all that it is the fact that like, the kind of different, you know, because it's like, they're like, oh, we did this a year ago.
Yeah.
And that's it, that's all I'm saying. But I kind of figured that's right.
So we go first?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was on the agenda first.
I think goes first on the agenda, so.
Okay.
So basically, it's the same. I haven't done Cinco before. Costs have gone up. I've noticed with Sunshine Days, insurance has gone up. Obviously, I just got a quote barely because they're taking longer than expected to get us back quotes and stuff. And the lady's really good. She likes to go and hand out. But I've been noticing just even for Sunshine Days, a lot of things have been going up in price. So, and it's just, they're like, well, I don't know if everyone's just charging more because of COVID, but basically we're doing the same thing. What I want to add for Cinco de Mayo is I want to add, it is a company that is out of Oregon, that they have a falling, it's police officers who were in the line of duty that have fallen. It's actually like a big trailer truck. So I want to add that to our Cinco de Mayo event. As far as like going through the parade, I have been going to other fairs now that they're open, and I saw some really good food. I've been trying out different vendors, getting our name out there. So I did went to the in Franklin County Fair. I wasn't able to make it to the one in Puyallup this past weekend, but I have been going to different. I want to see what's out there. There's new vendors. A lot of people are doing small boutique trailers, which is kind of cool. And I'm also seeing like here in town, I didn't know we had, it's called Bumblebee Clothing. She's here local, and she just does off of Instagram and stuff. But I've been trying to like go and see, okay, what do we have here in town that we can add to Cinco? So I have been working. I have been going. And not only when I go to these events, it's not just promoting myself, but I am also, hey, we have these, which is the Farm Implement Parade.
And then some of these pop-up formats that people are getting into really lends itself well to the kinds of events we're doing.
Yes, and I know a lot, I've been going to these pop-ups and trying to recruit for Sunshine Days. And a lot of them are like, hey, can you do a pop-up in Sunnyside for us? And they were like, here in this town, they don't allow you to do pop-ups. And I don't know what, I haven't gotten asked Janet yet, what, if it's a different requirement for a pop-up, and stuff like that. But I said, hey, in the Farm Implement Parade, she does a market, this is what we have. So it's been seeing different people, they have really good, unique things, and I'm excited to bring it for Sunshine Day for...
Yeah, one of the upsides, there's a lot of downsides to this whole COVID year and a half, but one of the upsides is people have kind of changed up some of their events and the way they're doing things, and it just kind of adds new energy to some areas, and it lets us just spin things a little bit different. And so I think we need to capitalize on that where we can and take advantage of that. We've got a lot of people in the valley and a lot of people in town who are perfectly poised for us to be able to use them in our events.
Yeah.
And I'd like to take advantage of that. Your whole idea of let's give Sunnyside people the first opportunity as vendors and that sort of thing. I'm 100% down with that. If we've got people in town who can do that, let's give them, an open door. Come on in and let's get your name out there. So I like that. Besides, we've got a lot that's unique to this valley. I just got back from California, and there's a lot of stuff that we do here in the valley they don't do in Central California, and their population is very similar to ours.
Yeah.
So I think we've got some levels of coolness here that we need to really, really take advantage of.
Yes, and I did host another event in South Carolina, and I can say, like, our community is the best. And by coming together and helping, because over there I was on, like, my own. They weren't very helpful. There was not there were things that I'm like, we have this, like, you guys should add this, and they're just like, oh, no, this is our way kind of thing, but I'm
Right.
thinking, we have really unique things
Mm-hmm.
and tools to use here, and it was really difficult over there doing an event. I learned a lot, and I did, you know, think, wow, like, I'm very grateful that we have a community, what we have, and the support that we do have here.
Yeah.
As far as like the city helping, you know, even if the city guys just put out the, you know, the garbage cans for us, like that's just way, just little things that you don't think of or appreciate when you're doing an event and you go to somewhere else that you're like, oh, you guys don't, no, you have to come pick it up. Well, okay, your city doesn't, like our city does it. And so it was a lot of like, my city does this, you know, you guys don't do that. So it was interesting going to another town, trying to do an event and seeing.
Right, and I'm glad we come up on the high side of that. I think that's.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm hoping we can have Cinco this coming year. I know a lot of, I've been going to Vegas still, even though I'm not able to book anybody, and I do have, you know, bands in mind. There's all these new artists that are coming, new things. Now there's 2 event groups, so now I have to try to go to support both and see what each one brings, because one's focusing more on the younger, and they are more into like the digital aspects, versus the other one that's been there for a long time, and they're kind of saying the old-fashioned way, how to do everything. So I've been going to both and seeing what they have to offer in learning and how they promote for like on the internet, doing marketing classes as well. So it's I've been doing, even though we haven't done it yet, I've been doing homework, I guess, to try to make.
Right, and I saw this weekend that the casinos in Northern California are promoting live events. Los Tigres del Norte are this weekend going to be at a casino south of Redding, for example. I saw billboards all over the place advertising them. And the next weekend is another group, and then after that's another group. So they're promoting these live events. So there is some hope that even though Yakima County, which right now our COVID numbers aren't fantastic, there's hope that we can continue to have these live events. And I think I want to operate from that perspective, that we're going to be able to continue to do that. And I want to operate under the assumption that Cinco's going to happen. I don't want to be the guy that pulls the plug on it this year. Last year was very difficult.
I know, I cried.
Yeah, no, it was not. I was so ticked off at every time we said something, the health board came in and said, yeah, but.
Yeah.
Really?
And it was really difficult because we saw county was able to do something, but we weren't able to do something. So that was really hard in that aspect. And I was like, you know, they did the rodeos, and I'm like, we could have all those people downtown, but rules are rules, and so I would rather be safe than,
Well, and I'd rather not get a huge fine, because that's the direction they were wanting to head on that. Ellen and I was just nasty. So, but let's operate with the assumption that it's going to happen. What I'm looking at your numbers, I'm not seeing that you're asking for a huge increase over things in the past. I think nobody's going to have a problem understanding that our insurance costs and those types of things have gone up. I think everybody sees that. Everything has gone up across the board. Supplies have gone up. All of my business costs have gone way up. So I can't see why that wouldn't be the case everywhere else too. So that shouldn't be a huge struggle. I'm just looking at the only concern is how big a piece of pie do we have to.
Oh, yeah, that's enough. I do want to know that too. What
divvy
was
up.
what was our balance for this year? Or
So
what?
you have this one.
The highlighted?
The highlighted is what we budgeted $152,000 for 2021. We've only spent $30,566.33. But that doesn't include all of the expenses for the rest of the expenses for Sunshine Days, Lighted Farmers Event Parade, and the rest of Yakima Valley Tourism. And then $17,000 that was over for Greg. So
We started the year off with $212,630.67. With revenue that's coming in $64,257.32. And if we just kind of divide that by 8 months, by the end of this year, we should probably get $96,385. So, right now, just counting those numbers, we expected to get 55,000 more, but COVID,
Right.
So what I think you're working with for 2021 as far as total revenues would be around 96,000, and that's just splitting the money up. So it depends. I talked to Elizabeth, and probably nothing over 100,000, just to be on the safe side, especially since we're only going to bring in 96,000. But it's up to you. I told Elizabeth I was going to leave it up to you guys to decide how much you want to spend.
Right. In my personal estimation, and this is just me personally thinking, I think that we're to the point where these events are incredibly important.
Yeah.
We've missed out now for a year and a half, and people are begging for these things to happen. We do have to keep in mind we're going to have to exercise caution. This weekend, we're going to have to take some precautions and really encourage mask use and those types of things, because we don't want there to be a major spreading event happening over this. I know that Wapato canceled their event, and that I saw on Facebook that the Outlook School reunion has been canceled. Who did?
Benton City.
Benton City.
Benton City Day, that was canceled.
However, Yakima had their Yakima Mile, the big race event, and they are planning at this point that the fair is going to go forward.
Yeah.
And Puyallup had their fair.
Yeah.
So.
Prosser did cancel theirs.
Right. So, there's about as much justification for moving forward as there is for canceling. Council has not, at least to my knowledge, received any official notification that these types of things shouldn't happen, and we're not going to have a meeting beforehand. So nobody's going to, at this point, be able to say, hey, no, stop.
Yeah.
Unless there's a big declaration by the governor, who at this point doesn't seem to want to make that declaration.
And I know Janet had sent me some information that the health district, and I kind of talked to her about it. And it just kind of said, if you're outside, just kind of make space between each other. And if you could cancel, you can, but if you can't, then don't cancel. So it was kind of like, they're not telling you to cancel, and they're not telling you to have it. They're just saying it's up to you, but use precaution.
Right. And I know, I didn't see which county, but there's a fair that's going on sometime like this weekend or next weekend, and they said, go ahead on it, but they're going to tell people to wear masks inside and outside.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
it's
their
kind of
precaution.
up, we do events too, and so it's different. They'll tell you, you have to walk in with your mask on, but then as soon as you're there, you can take it off. So, I know some places it doesn't, I don't know, I'm just like, okay, like the rodeos, they don't even, you don't have to. It's up to you. They're like, it's up to you kind of thing.
So,
I will be providing a sanitation station with masks and, sanitation for those who do want to. And I know, like, as far as, like, Walmart's going to help us with some, like, the volunteers, and she said she's going to require our employees to follow, just because they do work for Walmart, and so if they're coming to represent, she wants them to kind of follow that lead. But other than that, even downtown, I'm going to have that stuff for people. And it's a fighting battle all the time with people. So I don't want to get into a scuffle. And the vendors, I did have vendors ask, can I wear? And I said, if you want to, you're more than welcome to. I'm not. I would hope to protect yourself, but I'm not going to.
And, more and more businesses, they're kind of taking the position, the state of Washington requires that you wear a mask indoors, and then they allow you to make your choice. That may be why we're seeing an uptick in numbers too, because people have made the choice, but, nevertheless, that seems at the moment to be okay. And like you said, we don't want to get into a battle because some of these battles are turning ugly and physical. And we want to prevent that from happening as well. We don't want to fill our jail with people.
Oh no, you should sit at Walmart for a day and tell
Yeah.
people, like, I've been called every book in the name, like, people are really, like, they're rude. So it's kind of like, that's my thinking, like, if people want to, I'll let them. I don't want to be in a battle unless council or city tells me otherwise, like, we want, then I'll say, hey, I'm gonna follow rules. This is what city council is expecting from me.
Yeah, right now the state mandate is you must wear a mask indoors.
Yeah.
And you're encouraged to wear one outside. I would think that would be our position at this point.
Okay.
So that's, unless Jackie, you've got input on that, I don't know what city staff is saying.
We just follow whatever the guidelines is, masks indoors, and first, during a large group, outdoors. There's no way that we can enforce outdoors.
Right.
Masking, and I would probably just be flexible to maintain your distance, make sure comfortable, wear your mask outdoors.
I feel like we'll be following. I know Janet had sent me some flyers that the health department sent her, so maybe I'll just post those on social media as well.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
So they know, like, we're still following, it's not a free-for-all. We do whatever. Practice social distancing or something like that.
Yeah. No, we're dealing with a very tense public at this point.
So Dr. Edward, I'm sorry, I want to interrupt for just a second, but I want to know this, with this 189, 391 that's been asked, right, we need to get that down to 96,000 then? Like, yeah.
Yeah, whatever your budget is, it'll go down here on 25,000.
Yeah.
Because right now, we just have to set aside 25,000 for that, convention center. So this calculates how much everybody's priority, if you fund everybody's priority one, you're gonna pay 189. And if you pay everybody's priority two, you're gonna pay 161. Yeah. Well, you're gonna pay actually more than that.
But you're saying that we should, 96,000 is all that we should be.
We can do more. We could do 100, we could do 150, but okay. So Elizabeth and I talked, and we're only getting 96,000.
Right.
Okay,
Income.
estimated income this year. So
And we may have some left over from this year once this year is
Yeah.
done, but we can't say that at this point because we don't know how much we'll have. Okay.
And then I guess it's up to you guys if you want to later, just because normally we in the past, like, and I've looked at this stuff, this is the time that everybody requests money and that's it.
Yeah.
But because of COVID, we've done special things, and we can do that again next year if we see that there's additional funding. We can come back and add on or roll over kind of thing. So I talked to Elizabeth, and we said we're comfortable with anything less than 100,000. But she obviously says, what do you guys? What's your direction? This is LTAC. So. I would feel safe everything. And you still have money for over from previous years.
Right, so at a minimum, we need to figure out a way to shave 61,000 off.
That's what I would. I don't think it's, at this point, we kind of know what these are, and it's not necessarily the issue whether it's going to be funded or not, it's whether we can. Like, if we can fund the amount that we want, so that's, or what the priorities are.
Right, well, and that's,
What I was trying to think when I was looking over this, because I've looked over, I don't have any questions for Amy, because
well, no, and,
doing it for so many years and everything,
You're
that's why
right.
I wanted to know, like, what we can work with, because,
and as I was skimming over them just now too, I was thinking the same thing. This is what we know that Amy puts together, and so we're not seeing any big surprises, and I think we look at our lighted implement parade, we're gonna see very much the same thing. There's not gonna be any surprises. Numbers may be up from previous years, but again, we're seeing, costs going up everywhere.
Yeah.
Now the question is, okay, where are we gonna shave and how much and how so and how easy is it for people to work with that?
The big one is the Sunnyside tourism, and
Yeah.
you can always tell them, we're gonna dedicate 50,000 or 60,000, and
Mhm.
let's work with numbers.
Right. Well, I thought their increase was pretty steep, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I feel like every year it's more, and I haven't seen a really big change, on what we're getting, or like, and I know it's kind of hard because of COVID, but I would expect our website to be a little bit more,
Mhm.
you know, because they have time to,
Right, and we have paid for them to take pictures, so they
Yeah.
should have a stockpile of some pictures that they can add and rotate into our webpage. Now, I know on my webpage, I take pictures on my phone,
Yeah.
send them to the webmaster, and they incorporate it on the picture, and they turn out really good.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what the difference is as far as resolution. I mean, I'm doing it on an Android 9, so it's not exactly top of the line, latest model, best phone out there, and everything turns out fine. So, I was a little
and I
skeptical
know,
on those.
and I know I paid for my own photographer for Cinco.
Mhm.
For Sunshine Days, I'm trying to pay for somebody also, just because I want to make sure I have those
Mhm.
pictures for my own advertisement when they ask me.
Right,
For my purpose. So, and then I know, you know, you guys do return.
because you guys have had the drone before for the, no, you didn't?
We have it for Cinco.
Handle last year, and I just don't know where those pictures are.
No,
No?
just the year when we did have it, it was just volunteer basis.
Oh, okay.
We tried to hire him, and he kept saying, we just do volunteer
I know,
basis.
every time I give you pictures, he's like, just go ahead.
Yeah, and
It's like,
so,
But yeah, as long as he's fine with it, that's great, because I do remember the year that I was up there with Santa Claus and doing the talking, that drone was buzzing all around us, so.
I think that was, yeah, from the tourism.
Was it?
Yeah, and so that's
Okay.
why I asked, because I thought that too, that it was them, because that was before.
I think-
Andrew had the drone.
Well, the year but that was a while. I know we brought a drone too, but that was when Deb.
No, that
was
was
here.
before, yeah.
But yeah, so like any pictures like I have or anything, it's from my personal perspective for the campaign. So that's why I'm like, well, what are they providing? Because we're still having to put out of our pocket
Right.
to use for, you know, like I send them over to Jackie to use. So it's kind of like, what pictures have they taken? And then like I would expect for them to like go to our different businesses maybe, or take pictures. Like I just expect a little bit more for what we're paying.
No, I agree. I think that their price increase is extreme, and I think that we are still lacking in some as far as delivery.
Yeah.
They could work a little more on our company Sun page.
Yes.
I think we could see a little more development. I mean, I'm using a major national provider, and they're constantly updating my page.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't get pictures from me often enough, I get a phone call from them, we need more pictures. And I'm just a nobody in this massive chain, and yet I keep hearing it. So,
And I just emailed Jennifer while we were here, I haven't seen anything about the days online. I'm the one that's like adding it on the Facebook and.
mhm.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen, and I've done my part, which is send it to Jackie, you know,
Mhm.
like,
So I asked her for a copy, yeah, can I see what you guys put out there?
Mhm.
yeah, because I want to make sure we're getting our, and not just my event, but like everybody's event.
Right,
And
right.
even like, you know, for Miss Sunnyside, like there should be something on there, like,
Mhm.
you know, our flow, or like these are, because I know Sheila does have it, like these
Yeah.
are our ambassadors kind of
Mhm.
thing. So I feel like there should be more thought from them, like, how are we going to attract people? That's why I gave them those ideas,
Mhm.
like, if we're huge in wrestling, football's coming.
No, you guys asked some very good questions and made some real good comments, and I appreciated that, because
And like
you're thinking of different things.
yes, and I, you know, for soccer, like, we're playing in, I signed up my son in Grandview because I didn't know we had a soccer league here in Sunnyside. So somebody posted it.
Mm-hmm.
And it just happened they needed team members and I signed up. But
And
I'm
one of
like,
the purposes of the Come to the Sun website or a Facebook page was for that sort of thing to be up there. So that was part of the discussion when that all came to be, so.
Because it doesn't, even though it is a local thing, kids signing up, and I get that, but it would help other people coming from out of town.
yeah.
would come.
And some people, you know, they're like, we don't want to play for our own town. We want to go, you know, we want to go to Sunnyside because their programs are just great.
Mhm.
So we want to be able to travel. Because I'm sure parents, you know, like, for instance, for us, Royal City was having wrestling practice. We were committed and we were driving over there because they had it open for my son to
Right.
be able to do it. So there is those parents that are willing to travel. So
Mhm.
if we just have that information, like, here, you know, like,
Mhm.
this is who you contact, or these are their websites. I just feel like we need more on our website for what we're paying.
No, I agree. I think that the increase was nearly 30,000 over what, you know, their 84,000 is almost 30,000 above what they'd asked for the year before.
Yeah.
And that was,
And frankly, like, looking at their stuff, I feel like it's promoted more Yakima, area,
Mhm.
teams, not Sunnyside, and I feel like we're putting in a big amount of money. And I'm like, okay, well, how much more is Yakima putting in than we are? And they're
Mhm.
getting more shown.
no, absolutely, absolutely. And that's part of it, and part of it's a Yakima attitude. I work in Yakima a lot, and, you know, there is this mentality towards Sunnyside. There's a lot of people that still call us Smelly Side.
Yeah.
And the feedlot hasn't been there, but they noticed the dairies right away, you know?
Mhm.
They keep talking about violence in Sunnyside. You got all the gangs. Wait a minute. You've had 9 murders in Yakima. How many have we had in Sunnyside? Oh, that's right, we had one in January.
Yeah.
So there is that perception, and there's no way we're ever gonna escape that 100%.
So, I mean, I would like us to kind of see what we can, you know, take out, or,
Yeah.
I
I'm
don't,
trying to do it where at least taking out right here for the Sunnyside travel guide and going down to 24 pages, but I really think we should go down to 20 because
We're at 20.
I know that, I don't know why, I think 20 is fine,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And I don't really see, well, the only thing else I could see to add on the travel guide, and I don't, is as far as like the events, because it has like a square where it has all the events, and then it has, you know, just time of year, but the only thing you can add to the extra pages is stuff that's gonna go on during that event. So why do you want that if you're coming in July, and, you know, so I think we can move it down to 20 pages. That's one thing.
Right. The one thing that they have an advantage over us is the distribution.
Yeah.
We try to do it on our own, and I know the Daily Sun tried to step in and take over that as well, and they also struggled with the distribution side. Yes, I know they're associated with another group of papers, but not in the ideal areas.
yeah.
So, you know, promoting in Connell probably isn't gonna get us the best return
Yeah.
as opposed to Seattle, Bellevue.
Yeah.
We get a lot of traffic on the interstate from Bellevue, from Everett, from places like that. I see the brackets around license plates, I see where people are buying their cars, and we get a lot of traffic from those areas. Now, I know people from Sunnyside go to Bellevue to buy their Hondas because Yakima doesn't sell as good a Hondas, I get that. But, we get a lot of traffic through there. They're all headed towards Tri-Cities, Walla Walla, and that sort of thing, and we need to interrupt them on that trip and get them to come through town.
Yeah.
I have been to Varietal a few times, which has been a real jewel because I'll either know everybody in that place or I don't know anybody there.
Have you gone to Hobbies? Is that?
I haven't had a chance yet. I've been gone so much or working so
I
much.
think it's been a really good addition to downtown.
Yeah.
I'm more of a night, you know, we're out, so, and I've never seen downtown so packed. Friday, I know Thursdays gets really packed, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Well, I've been noticing that this summer when I'm driving through downtown at the
Yes,
end of the
it's
week.
so-
It's busy.
Yes, and I've gone, because I'm like, you know what, I want to check it out, I want to see, we had it Friday off, so everybody's like, hey, come, okay, people are just hanging out, having a good time, and they're like, oh, let's go to the Blue Moon next. So everybody heads to the Blue Moon.
Yeah.
They go back to hobbies, and then they've been going to the Spanish. It's called Islas.
Okay.
So they've been going back and forth. So it's been a really good, and then takeout to go. It's family owned. So when you go in, you can go with your family on this side, or you can go on the bar kind of area vibe.
Right, and it's kind of the same idea that Varietal's been, where your kids can come in, you can play games, bring your dog, you know.
Yeah, so I think it's been really, really good for Sunnyside, and it's been bringing more attention.
Well, what we
downtown.
needed, and what we've needed, and I think Varietal started it, and then we had the farmer's market that year, and all the food trucks down there. It kind of has a bit of a pulse going downtown right now. And if that can be maintained, then we can start getting stores to come in, or maybe stay open a little bit longer to catch those people walking by.
Yeah.
So, and what's the Eastland? I haven't heard of that.
Eastwood is across the street, and it's just a Spanish, like a Mexican restaurant, but they sell more of, like the shrimp and all that stuff.
Okay. Okay, now I know where you're talking about. Yeah.
And they say their micheladas are really good. I have not tried them.
I've
But,
never got into micheladas.
yeah, and so us, like, we've been going to Javi's, but like, that's something like we should, like, new business in town, like, you know, focus, and I know they do really good on their social media part, so I'm sure people are checking it out.
Well, and I know I sent their contact information to my friend who works at Fox. She's trying, because Fox 41, and what's the Spanish version that goes with that? Hispanic
Innovation?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, she does all their advertising, and so she says, what's new in Sunnyside? So I said, well, do these. So, yeah, maybe she'll get with them and get some advertising on there too, because she likes to do that whole geofencing thing.
Yeah.
You get anywhere close, man, on live, she's got your information, and she'll start sending you targeted ads.
And like, we've done that through, the Yakima Herald. Because that when we did the parade in 2019, we put a little less in the print ads, and a little more on, doing stuff like that, and a little more on the ads that just pop up and the geofencing. So, yeah, that would be great.
Okay. So to stay a little bit on track here, are there any questions that anybody wants to ask as far as Cinco, Sunshine Days, or Lighted Implement Parade? Is there anything that popped out as you reviewed this?
Yeah, I do. So, Amy, is for Sunshine Days, the totals that you have, is this for a one-day event? Is that what you're basing it off, or are you trying to go for?
Well, because I don't know, like, obviously, with COVID and everything, I decided to do it one day.
Yeah.
Because the response that we're getting, and there is I changed the date because normally it's the third weekend in September. I did change it because there's big groups coming into town, and I knew it would affect us, and I'm trying to bring people in. And I know that they're doing a big rodeo on that Sunday with a big band. So for me to compete, or us to compete with that, it's a little difficult.
So you're doing it for Saturday so that the rodeo people have something to do on Saturday so we can capture them.
We have, and then I know people are, the road, there's a big, I guess, competition for the horses in Vegas, so they're all coming back. So they just called and they said, hey, we're actually on our way back, can we still be in the parade? And I said, yes, you guys are more than welcome.
Yeah.
I know Friday night is the first football game, so I didn't want to take away from that, and I did talk with Mr. Martinez, and I said, hey, what do you guys got going on? This is what we have going on. And I said, okay, are people going to come? Because I know everybody goes to the football games now. It gets really packed.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't want to take away from doing that.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're, with the budget, I want to do the 3 days. Hopefully we're out, but I know the amount with things are going up, and I don't know, like, what's going to cost, what's not going to cost.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of just going based off of what I'm doing now.
Okay.
And I'm learning, like, okay, is people going to like the one day? They also have the functionality. Yeah. So I want to be supportive of our businesses that are here also.
No,
so,
that's a
and
good
I want
idea.
to build from that. I want to be like, okay, let's start off this one day. Next year, hopefully I can add a second day if it goes well. So that's where I'm at. It's really hard. I can't say,
Yeah.
you know what, I'm gonna go full swing and do the 3 days, because we haven't, as a company, we haven't really been working.
Right,
So
well,
I don't
and,
have that, I don't wanna spend that money and lose.
and it used to be a big 3-day event, but it really has been falling off over the years to where we finally tied it to Sunnyside High School's homecoming.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just so that it wouldn't die altogether.
Yeah.
But right now, I think we're so desperate to have something to do in Sunnyside.
Yeah, I think one is good. I was just curious as far as the budget and looking at how much you know, kind of what you were doing. And I kind of thought that, because it was different from Cinco for sure, so I thought.
Yeah, and it's just a playing, I'm just kind of seeing,
Yeah.
okay, what's gonna work, what's not gonna work.
Mhm.
And then I can, you know, obviously I'll fix things, and hopefully with Cinco and the money I make there, I can invert it through Sunshine Days, add some more, and then next year be like, hey guys, you know, this is what happened, this is the amount that I spent, because I can't really give you an estimated
Sure.
amount of what I spent, it's just kind of guesstimating of what I went off for Cinco.
I will say it'll be a whole lot easier to spend less than what you're approved of than to ask for more money later.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Now, is there any questions on the parade?
I have no questions for the department, actually. Just, and I think you guys are gonna do the market again, right?
Okay, right, this year?
Yeah.
No. We're not doing the market right now. That's kind of what they decided. That's what I was gonna say when you were saying all that, because it's hard, it's really hard to cancel on everybody, and we're in winter, and what, we haven't gotten the okay from the health department yet, because I think their concern is the time of year. Because there's already, during that time of year, there's already stuff going around. So we're keeping it simple and just keeping it to the parade, which, yeah. But if we're able to, I mean, I can get it going pretty quick, but I just didn't put a permit in for the items for the parade. But for the next year, and that's what I was going to say, is that there's no impression, I kept the market in here, but I don't think I put it in as far as, oh, I did, I kept it in here as far as what to bring in and stuff, because I'm hoping that for 2022, we will have the market.
Okay.
So, that is all, everything else is pretty much the same. The other thing that will be added in here on expenses, is the mural. Because we did ask before, but now we've just included it in this, because it's part of advertising for the parade. So those an extra $3,000 on expenses, but we didn't change what we're requesting. So
And where are you gonna put the mural, just curiosity?
not sure yet. That's kind of, Reese goes around and looks and sees where to put it.
But the subject is gonna be the parade.
Yes.
Awesome.
That's the, and yeah, it's always the first weekend in December.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we would put, and he just looks for blank space, and then he has to get permission. So that's why, but we would really like to have it, downtown, of course, somewhere, so. But yes, he would, any picture we give him, he's showing us a couple of examples that he can do, so. I think that's pretty much the only thing that changed from prior years. So nothing else, except I did make sure to get all the good, we got letters of recommendation, from people, but again, Rotary has been doing this for a bit, so, we really wanted to try to do something last year, but we did do the house lighting, so.
Oh, that was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And if we do end up not being able to, again, that
I
was
think
pulled
a lot
together
of-
last minute, so.
I think a lot of people actually really liked it. I know we did, and it looked really pretty when you were coming into Sunnyside.
Yeah.
And you could see the heel.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like it kind of got competition, like people, like I know my dad would go around and he's like, oh, so-and-so added more, I'm gonna add more.
Yeah.
So, and I know other people were like, oh, did you see so-and-so's house? Like,
Mhm.
I'm gonna do this now, or, like, I think they liked it and they're expecting it again for next
Oh, yeah.
year.
I think people will be disappointed if it doesn't happen
I
again.
know, so I'm not sure, I feel the Rotary's just like, I don't know if we can do both, because there's so few people we have right now. But I will do what we can do.
Well, see if we can find a different way to do it, but
I know.
still, I think it was fun to
I know.
drive around and check out everybody's lights
Oh,
and
yeah.
talk about those, because people, did you see what so-and-so did, so I think you're,
And then they
you're
did
right.
like the people's choice.
Yeah,
that
we have the voting on the,
That was really, I thought, and then it kind of gave like attraction to
Mhm.
Sunnyside.
Yeah.
As far as like people tagging and sharing, they're
Mhm.
tagging their friends from out of town, and
Yep.
then like, because I know like we tagged our family from Texas, and then they tagged their friends, like, hey, vote for, you know, my cousin's house, stuff like that. So it gives like, you
Oh, we
know,
were voting on stuff for Iowa and Minnesota where our kids live, so, yeah, you know,
I mean, it does add a little bit of stuff, hopefully.
so, yeah, that was fun, so I'm glad you guys are thinking about it.
Hopefully, yeah, but I'm still working on it. So, yeah, if there's no other questions as far as that, I do have a couple questions on the Sunnyside stuff. So we didn't know.
That's where we were going next.
Okay, I didn't know if there was.
So just before we get to that, Jackie, is there anything that I am missing that we need to talk about on the signature events, on the Cinco, Sunshine Days, and Implement Parade?
No.
Okay. So then we had presentations on the community float and the Sunnyside Pageant. We've already talked about some of our concerns with the marketing tourism project, so
Yeah.
let's raise any questions or concerns about those two items, and go ahead.
Okay. So it actually goes for both of them because I wasn't sure how, I don't know, picky that we were being as far as references and their personnel. Because I'm the one that makes our presentation, and it does ask them to do, you know, a few sentences talking about their personnel, and that was something that they didn't do, and I do, you know, the Sunnyside is close to my heart, of course. I was in Sunnyside, so, but I do find it a little bit difficult because every year we've asked, like, you know, well, did you do this? And they always say no, and we'll do it next year, and I'm not saying that would be a reason I would vote no. I'm just saying, and I guess I'm just asking a question, how everybody else feels about that, about not doing stuff that's been requested every year.
and I know it says you cannot write in it, it has to be typed,
Mm-hmm.
there is writing.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
I just want them to do, everybody else takes the time and fills it out, and it's kind of, like, I know for, like, I think it's the pageant one, there's a lot of it's cut, like, some of it's cut off.
Yeah. I think more for the float too, I really wanted, and I know that they went to a few parades, and I was really hoping to see a couple of examples of the float, because that is also asked of them in here. To put examples of advertising. And I know before, that's what we said, we're like, well, if you just put a picture of the float. And I also, for the float, I feel like there was a big jump in the request. So that's why it wasn't a question for Kim, because what did she say besides, oh, sorry, that's not in there, because
Mm-hmm.
it's just, yeah.
And it's just, like, Diana filled it out, so she didn't fill it out.
Yeah.
Right, so she's not gonna have all the
Yeah,
information at the top of her head.
I mean, and it says here, if you look in the RFP that you fill out in here, it does tell you this is what you need to do.
Mhm.
So it's like,
So council has committed to funding it at some level.
Okay.
Okay, so it's going to get,
Okay.
unless
for the
there's a radical change, you
for
know.
the pageant, because I don't know, I feel like the pageant is not, the flow, I agree 100%, the amount, that's to be discussed, but as far as the pageant, I don't see how it needs for us to fund it in LTAC, and I know we didn't fund it last year. That's just me, I don't know.
Mhm. Well, like I said, we've done some research, and I don't know if you can if you remember everything that you came up with, and I know you've got a lot in your head right now, what the justification for the pageant was on that. But I know somewhere along the line, it was some events that are, I don't remember what the wording was on there that you came up with, on the pageant.
Pageant, their expenses can be eligible, but I don't know, I think last time it was that, Tom Denny said there isn't, how many people actually come out of town. And they,
Mhm.
but we can,
But I think legally, an event like the pageant is something that is justifiable.
Mm.
But I don't remember what the reasoning was. I remember,
because they did, MRC did, I do remember they said, you know,
Oh.
I mean, to show the receipts that there's, what, I remember there was like 4 people that stayed in the hotel and it was the judges.
mhm.
I mean,
It's not a huge number of people, but,
if you want to record that somebody did come from out of town, what people did.
yeah.
Well, that's all I was going by as far as pageant goes, is because of, like Tom Denley said, is that
Mhm.
he's never had anybody stay there for the pageant. I guess that's what I was going off of. I understand their need because they have not been able to have their fundraiser that they usually have, so I understand that difficulty.
I can't find the response from MRC exactly, but I can.
And I was a little confused, because I don't think she's aware that they had money, like, it seems to me. She said we didn't receive money last year, but they did receive for the float.
Yeah. It's not for the
So, I don't know.
pageant.
We got nothing for the pageant, no.
Yeah.
I understand the need to want to fund it. I know that I haven't used so much fundraising for everything. I understand the need for it. I'm just not sure, especially with we're trying to cut down
Mhm.
on the, even the reduced amount, I'm just not sure. Like I said, with the float, I get it a little bit more. But it does get a little bit difficult just because I know that I was super stressed out trying to work really hard on that, do everything and get all the references and.
Well, and then last year, everybody really went to town cutting and saying, okay, we can do this. I remember we had those meetings and say, okay, yeah, this is our priority too, but
Yeah.
okay, let's see what we can do to knock this back even further. And,
You can make the recommendation, and then, by the time council meets, I'll have a response from MRC again.
okay,
And then I can tell council, this is MRC's advice. If you want to go against the rules, then council can do that, and the auditors have a problem with it, then we will have trouble, but at least we have some kind of research.
right.
And there's, for council, you can make the recommendation, council has approval.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it where you guys haven't recommended it, but council will send it back to you to recommend.
Yeah, we want to fund this, make it happen.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to do that, we can do that too. I can have a
Because-
response for council.
Yeah, I think that's what happened before, is that we said, we recommended not to fund it, but then it came back to look at it again and do fund it somehow.
Can say we recommend this funding depending on MRC's.
Yeah,
And
contingent upon.
I'm going for, how to say, not, because it's both going, they're both getting money, it's the both same program.
Mhm.
I don't see funding the pageant, but giving them more for the float, and they can incorporate that with,
Well, I think if they get money for the float, they have to use it on the float and
Yeah.
show their receipts that they used it on the float. They can't take float money and put it in a pageant.
towards the, that,
So I was looking at the auditorium rental, and that alone is $1,500. I was just trying to add up, a couple things to come up with an amount that was
Mhm.
better.
See, and I don't have a problem with the pageant at the reduced amount.
Yeah,
I think the 5,000 is a little high. I am comfortable with between 3,000 and 3,500, because like I say, the auditorium by itself is 1,500.
Yeah.
And so, so do you guys want to try to come up with numbers today, or do you want to set another meeting? Because we're already at 12:15,
Okay. Yeah, we can,
and I'm getting a little tight on time to get my work done today, so.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we can set up another time
To come up with numbers.
and we can put numbers in both. And then
Always, you can plug in numbers for what you want for the signature, then.
yeah, we can meet another time. Do you want to meet another time this week so city council can still have it on the 13th, or are we looking, because what did you say was the next meeting for city council?
The 13th or the 27th. And then, you guys can always do it in October. I can just do everything that you're done.
13th. Yeah, 'cause it was it's a workshop tonight.
I have to, well, I'm going to publish the agenda, so I can wait to the last minute on Friday, this Friday, to publish it.
Yeah.
I would like to get it done with Jackie too. She kind of knows more.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking too.
Not that I don't think Janet would do a good job, but Jackie knows more if she's been here. So,
Either way, it's not a problem.
The agenda planning meetings, are they going on as originally scheduled? Because I haven't heard anything about them. I'm still on my schedule.
So Elizabeth has paused meetings for now, like, for all of us,
Okay.
until she's gonna meet one-on-one with us again. And we canceled the last one, and this meeting would have been, so I'm just waiting for her to tell me what she wants to do.
Okay.
She said, just pause and I'll get back to everybody, she's figuring everything out first.
Sure.
So, right now, I think we're on pause for that meeting too.
Okay, because then we could do it during that time slot. Because that was set up, I think, for next Wednesday, was that right?
It would have been last Wednesday, this is the first Wednesday before the workshop, so you know the month.
Okay, so I have it written on my schedule all wrong then.
Uh-oh.
Because I had it written, I think, for tomorrow or something like that, yeah. I have either tomorrow or the 22nd I can meet.
I'm available tomorrow.
I might have to Zoom tomorrow, but it,
And that's probably that, I don't know, I think it's better to start seeing the number, hey, you can see them now, but.
I just like getting out of the house.
oh, I'll be out of the house. I'll be on my phone with a headset in, so I won't even have my camera on.
But if we do meet tomorrow, I need to know if, sorry, it's too late to do it at 10 tomorrow, because it's 24 hours notice. So it would have to be, if you want me, I can say 12:30, but I need to get the notice out 12:30 right now.
Yeah, I've got another meeting that's gonna not get finished until about 1:30 tomorrow, so.
Well, why don't we instead just put it off and aim it for the 22nd, so that gives everybody time.
Do that,
Would
yeah.
that be okay with you?
Yes, I will have a meeting on the 22nd that begins at 11:30, 11:45, but I mean, we're just talking about approving and recommending numbers and saying, okay, let's recommend this and go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
we can, and I can do anytime from, if we're meeting in person, I can do anytime about 8:30 to, until you're.
right, and by Zoom, I can do any time from 8:30 on until 11:45 as well, so.
Okay.
Depends on when you wanna wake up.
Yeah, when is your, you can take your kids to school.
My kids start school at 9,
Okay.
so,
Yeah.
you know, but I can always take them earlier.
Yeah, my kids are all out of the house, so we can work around your schedule.
And so what time do you need to be done by?
My meeting starts at 11:45.
Oh, let's just do 9:30 then.
Okay.
And then just in case it does go, that gives us plenty of time.
Okay, September 22nd at 9:30.
Yeah, are we doing
we're doing it Zoom though, or are we gonna have some in person and?
Well, depends on what the guideline is, but we'll always have it Zoom.
Yeah.
And it'll be real by Zoom, so if the in-person part is what is the
Okay.
change.
But you'll let us know.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Cause it's even easier, even if we, like, if Amy and I can do it in person and Dean,
Yeah.
I just hate.
And then we could do it at City Hall, since it's gonna be.
Yeah, it would be, okay.
Okay.
Just didn't know how many people were coming, so
I know.
do it here.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you guys' flexibility. Yeah, makes things a lot easier. And I apologize for my busyness. I don't think I've ever had a summer quite as insanely busy as this one, so.
Do you have to adjourn then?
I do, and I will do so here presently. Any more questions, comments? We got a couple of items on the agenda yet, but we skipped all the way down. Oh, we talked about our future agenda items. Jackie, do you have anything to add that we need to know? Nothing. Okay, do you guys have anything to add that we need to know about?
Not that I need to know, but I do have something, Jackie, that I'd like to add it on at some point for us to be able to have another meeting at another time of year to discuss things like, you know, the emergency for events as far as them getting, you know, maybe being funded a certain amount a year on that.
Yeah, I think we're working on a policy
Yes,
that automatic, obviously, you know, that, like, contractors for that way we don't have to do RFPs, but every, you know, the contract would be for 3 years versus every year.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
I think that's worth discussing.
yeah, so I'll just bring up the policy again, so that we can, Don was working on it, and Martin started working on it a little bit, and then, we'll see what Elizabeth wants to do.
Yeah.
it would be nice to know, like, so, like, just as far as Rotary even goes too, like, knowing that, like, Rotary would be able to do it for at least like 2 years, then we could know, yeah, as far as the membership and, yeah.
It does help because it's like, okay, what if council votes no? Like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm hoping they don't, but like, we don't know.
Well, right, it's really kind of up in the air. There's no certainty for,
Yeah, like,
The-
and if there was certainty for the groups that are doing it,
Mhm.
I can just be like, okay, I have for 2 years, like, this is what I'm gonna have planned to
Right.
go, versus not.
yeah.
Every
And so
year
this
like
year,
that.
you were the only one who submitted a proposal, but you can't guarantee that's going to be the case every year. So, yeah,
Yeah.
you've got a good point, and it's definitely worth talking about. So we will, yeah, Jackie will add that. Anything else?
Not for this 22nd.
No,
I was just saying, like,
22nd should only include approval of, or suggestions to these numbers.
Your copy and paste of that.
Yeah.
I'll get it published, and I'll get a calendar invite, and
Awesome.
that is all done.
All right, without any other comments then, no objection, we are adjourned.